Tom, Ebel, and Courtney Robb from WCBI. They're actually sports reporters from WCBI. So, what's your favorite part of your job?
For me, my favorite part of my job is we get to go and be a part of so many cool moments and be in so many cool places. Like, Courtney, for instance, just got back from Portland yesterday covering Mississippi State women's basketball in the NCAA tournament. 2 weeks ago, I was in San Jose, California, covering Mississippi State men's basketball. Courtney was in Columbia, South Carolina, covering Ole Miss. So my most favorite part of my job is it's something new every day. It's not a normal 9 to 5. There's always something new happening, something cool happening, and it lets us be a part of things that a lot of people watch on TV. That's our life. So it's a very fun and rewarding experience.
What's yours?
Well, kind of going off of that, just the idea that there's no such, you're never going to see the same game every single day. So if you're in a game action, then the chances are that something about that game is going to be memorable to people, and you get to say, oh, I was there for that, and I remember watching that. And just to say that, I was thinking about this the other day, actually, when I was in Portland, and I was doing all of my work at the arena, and I was kind of just like, it's the weirdest job in the world. Most people aren't in a place 2,500 miles away sending stuff back of athletes and how they're preparing for games, but I get to do that for my job, and so I do think I'm cooler than other people in that respect. That I'm not stuck behind a desk every single day, and I actually get to be in the action and part of very big emotional moments that people remember for the rest of their lives.
What do you like most about working with Courtney?
The most thing I enjoy about working with Courtney is it's not work. It's the relationship we've built at this stage in the game is something that maybe takes people a long time. So right off the bat, it's I feel like Courtney's a friend more than a coworker. But the other thing that is really refreshing about Courtney is she brings new ideas, a new perspective on things. She brings us some things that we haven't done yet before at WCBI Sports. So she's very refreshing to be around, and that's something that makes coming to work and planning things and looking at the future more exciting.
And going off of what Tom said again, not to just kind of reiterate, he was a big part of why I took the job, just because I felt like we did have that connection when I was interviewing for the position. And also, if I do have those ideas, he's never going to say no to me. I do feel lucky that I can go up to him and say, hey, I think we should do this, or I think this would be a good idea, and he's normally very on board, which, if you have ideas, you want people to be excited about them and go along and see what you can offer and bring and do different things. And so sometimes not everybody gets that. Your ideas get shut down, and that's hard, but I don't think you've ever shut down an idea of mine.
I don't think I have.
So,
no, I don't plan to either.
Yeah, so very grateful for that, and that's always really nice to have someone who's on board with you and willing to work with you like that.
So, where did y'all go to college?
I went to UCF in Orlando, or University of Central Florida. It's in Orlando, so if you know Orlando, it's Disney World. I grew up in Naples, Florida, so it was about 3 hours from home. So my brother and sister also went there as well, so it was like a family connection thing. So this was actually, WCBI was my first job at a college, so I've been here since 2015. So it's been fun. National champs always. I had to drop it in.
Of course. I went to Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. It's in the southernmost part of the state. I had no connection to there whatsoever. I went and visited. It was the most beautiful campus I had ever seen, and I, on a whim, decided to go there. And luckily for me, they had a very good journalism program, and loved every minute of it. Only graduated from there and left there less than a year ago. So still very much a part of who I am and how I built myself and, got here for my first job too.
So, what, in your lifetime did you, kind of know that you wanted to be a sports reporter?
That's actually a fantastic question. I think for me, like I grew up playing sports. I played basketball my entire life. Like, you know, I felt like almost my entire life revolved around basketball. So like there came a point where I was like, I'm not going to the NBA. So like the way I looked at it was like, instead of not going to the NBA, I was like, well, what would be the second best thing? To talk about sports for a living. So like instead of playing sports and being in like NCAA tournament games, I get to talk about them and still be a part of that experience. I think that's one of the biggest things that stood out to me was, I was like, I loved sports. I could make it a career in terms of playing, but I was like, hey, I could be on TV and talk about it.
I did not know that I wanted to do this until my freshman year of college. So about maybe 5 years ago at this point. I grew up in an area in Chicago where traditional jobs were just what was promoted most. So I always thought I was going to end up being a lawyer or going into business or doing something on that end. And then I got to college and I was 8 weeks into a business major and I hated everything about it. And so I went to my advisor, and I always grew up loving reading and writing. In high school, I entered a writing contest, did all of that, and so when I went to college, I said, hey, I love reading and writing, and they were like, oh, why don't you try journalism? So I went to the student newspaper, said, hey, I think I'd be interested in sports, because like Tom, growing up in Chicago, sports were kind of everything. Every Sunday I spent was with my dad watching the Chicago Bears on Sundays. So said, hey, I'd like to start writing sports. They let me kind of do that right away. Just never stopped since.
Well, thank y'all for coming, and I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome,
Yeah,
Mary Audrey.
thank you for having us. It's been great.